going on? I decided to make this video for the zombies community to explain some stuff that they missed, and at the same time, I don't want it to come across as if I'm trying to have a Kathy Bates moment from Misery and trying to, catch Treyarch off guard and say, hey, there's a huge hole in your Black Ops 4 Zombies storyline, the Ether storyline to be specific. I'm just going to go over some stuff trying to explain to the Zombies community what they missed, which is going to show that we're due for a Zombie Chronicles 2. And it just goes by stuff that we've gotten in the past that even myself never noticed. And again, I explained to people. I first started with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Black Ops 2 came out. I played multiplayer a lot, then did some zombies, did transit, bus depot, and usually did like high rounds. So I wasn't invested into the storyline, and I think that's kind of like the life cycle of Call of Duty, like Black Ops players, zombie players. I think like we all start doing high rounds and trying to survive, and then I think slowly you get more invested into the backstory. So I think that's where I kind of am at right now. I did the high rounds in Black Ops 2, and now I'm kind of going back, looking at the storyline, Easter eggs, stuff that people missed, maybe what Jimmy Zelensky tried to explain in the old maps and stuff like that. Okay, so like I said, I'm trying not to have a Kathy Bates moment. Like, I don't want it to seem like I'm trying to force Treyarch to do anything or trying to out them on anything, because nobody really knows what's coming, and I myself don't want to know what's coming. But going by a few things, we should know that there is a Zombie Chronicles 2 coming. Okay, so starting with, and this is pretty much how everyone figured it out or was aware of it, in the Origins end cutscene was the first time that the zombies community or the zombies players found out that it was Sam. And this is somewhat based. This might be a little bit of a convoluted itself explanation, because I'm trying to tiptoe around some stuff that I don't want to be out there, because it can cause some issues. But in Black Ops 2, the Origins cutscene was the first time that we found out that it was Sam and Eddie controlling the zombies. That people know. What they don't realize, or maybe they did at the end of the cutscene, is that it also was them telling a story. And in the end, I'm not going to play it because, like most people, you have copyright issues when you start playing stuff. Hopefully, the photo or screenshot is okay. I think when you start getting into the audio part of videos is when you run into YouTube copyright issues. So Eddie and Sam basically take turns telling a story. People equate that, or Treyarch wants us to know that or people thought that it was them also controlling the zombies. But we're just, for the purpose of this, we're just going to say that it's them telling a story. Up until Black Ops 2, we all had an idea that Sam was controlling the zombies, and that was her telling her story. And again, one thing I'm not going to go into detail with is the maps and how the maps were created, what the maps are based on, is also a major missed Easter egg / plot that the zombie communities don't know yet. So starting with Origins was when Eddie started his version of you can either say controlling the zombies or telling the story. And I'm not going to say who or what, but again, you have to realize this is based on real people in real life, inspired by real people in real life. So Sam and Eddie being a couple, believe it or not. They're not brother and sisters, they're not friends, they're actually in a relationship. And you kind of see a little bit of that in Tag Your Toten at the end. So anyways, Sam, up until Black Ops 2 Origins, was pretty much telling the story. And then when you get to Origins, even though the end scene is the end of Origins, unless somehow the end cut scene is actually the beginning of Origins, maybe beginning of them telling the story, but Origins is when Eddie started telling his version of the story. That goes up until, and really quickly before I go any further, that, like I say about missed Easter eggs, the whole concept of telling stories and was also missed in the whole entire Black Ops 2. Like I said, I go back and look at other stuff. I wasn't invested in the storyline, but when you go back and look at things, you can see on the Black Ops 2 loading screen that there's a picture of somebody's head, either telling the story or symbolizing that it's their imagination. So that's one thing before I wanted to kind of skip past, the whole Black Ops 2 game, because I'm kind of doing this game by game stuff that we missed, and it's a trend, and that trend is going to prove something in Black Ops 4 about Zombie Chronicles 2. So just to kind of go back real quick, up until Black Ops 2 Origins, Sam was telling the story / controlling the zombies. Starting with Origins, and it said it in the cutscene, it's going to be Eddie's turn to basically control the zombies or tell the story. So that's where we get into Black Ops 3, and I'm purposely missing or skipping World at War, and I'm purposely skipping Black Ops 1, because like I said, this is when we first kind of was shown the light by Treyarch, let's say, of this part of the story. So that going into Black Ops 3, same thing. That was the end of Black Ops 2, where Treyarch says, hey, it was just them telling a story, playing a game, playing with dolls, and it's their imagination. You go into Black Ops 3, you play all the maps, and like I said again, I'm not going to get to specifics, but if you look at the maps and why the maps are made, what's in the map, you're going to know, you're going to find out a lot of things, and I've said this a lot of times on Twitter and maybe on YouTube, other people's YouTube channels. Believe it or not, the zombies community has really only solved maybe like 70-80% of the storyline. Sorry, 20 or 30% of the storyline. 70 or 80% of it is still yet to be solved, explained, discovered, uncovered, however you want to say it. Jumping to the end of Black Ops 3 now, we find out in both the Revelations and Zombie Chronicles trailers that it's the same thing. Sam is staring out the window and just imagining maybe what's out there or making up these stories. And that is shown in the first Zombie Chronicles trailer, where all it was her staring into a snow globe. Why the snow was there was a lot of snow, and Jason Blundell said the snow was very important in the storyline, and especially in the giant cutscene where it turns to snow. And I guess maybe Drak had snow. The snow was very important because it was her imagining all the characters playing within the snow globe. Everything was through her imagination. And if you've noticed so far, and this is stuff that you're going to have to kind of, if you're interested in it, do your own research. It's American Sam and American Sam. So up until this point, the person that's telling the story is American Sam. And you got to realize in Moon and the older maps that it's a German Samantha as the character, but the American, out of the storyline, it's the American Sam who's telling the story. So we go back to Black Ops 3, it's American Sam imagining everything that went on in Black Ops 3. If this was German Samantha looking at the snow globe, then think of it almost like Inception, and maybe why Inception is, the movie Inception is kind of the way it is, and it's referenced in Black Ops 3 a little bit. You can kind of see a little bit of comparison. even though those are dreams, but I guess this is more daydreaming or imagination, that American Sam is staring into a snow globe of a duplicate of the house um, in Black Ops 3. Like, it's just a girl by herself sitting in a room imagining everything that went on up until that point. And that was inspired by a famous 1980s TV series. And the TV series, the last episode ever made, showed that it was just an autistic kid, boy, looking into a snow globe and imagined everything that went on in the TV series up until that point. So it's the same exact story that they use. An autistic girl just you can tell she's autistic by watching the trailer, some of the mannerisms and the stuff that she does. So it's just an autistic girl staring into a snow globe, imagining everything that went on in this version. And the other thing, which I forgot to include a photo, but it's fine. It reminds me also of the Chaos story, where the trial opens and closes, and I think it's the same parallel that they're trying to, the Treyarch is trying to show, that like Chaos and Ether are a little bit similar, where it's an open, let's say open and closed case. So this one version, or this trial, ends with her staring into a snow globe. This trial in Black Ops 2 ends with them playing toys and just imagining what's going on. So, like I said, two cases of people just imagine, or kids just imagining American Sam telling a story. You go to now Black Ops 1, and if you follow the trend in Black Ops 1, what I guess was a little bit more cryptic than how Jason Blundell decided to show it with cutscenes, is that we were supposed to know, or the zombies community was supposed to know, that it was just somebody reading a newspaper or a comic, because everything on the left side, I don't know if this cursor is going to work, everything on the left side is in a newspaper that ended up being imagined, and up until this point, the moon was the last map. So back then there weren't cutscenes, but this is the way that they were going to show that it was somebody just reading through a newspaper that maybe was on the ground. Maybe it was Sam. I know there's a shadow, so maybe that's symbolic of maybe Sam found a newspaper or a magazine, or, you know, there were comics back in the day. Back in the day, every newspaper had comics in it. So if you follow the trend of Black Ops 2 and 3, you go back now to Black Ops 1, we were supposed to know, or the zombie community, being so young back then, was supposed to realize that everything that happened was just somebody reading a newspaper up until this point, and imagining everything that was going on. That's so the reason I'm bringing that up is, you go now to Black Ops 4. Black Ops 4, we're going back to German Samantha. So just to kind of recap what I've said, like, American Samantha is the one, and it's based on real life events, which I'm not going to tell you who. You're going to have to try and search it yourself, because I don't want to get myself in trouble, and frankly, like, it's just, people should just do their own research. So we're going back into Black Ops 4 now. We're going back into Ether, and it's back into the German Samantha, which means we're inside the story. If it was an American Samantha, then we would know that we're inside the story, and it's think of it, I don't know if you guys are too young, but think of it like Freddy Krueger, where like you can die in the dream. Well, actually that's a bad example, but let's just say, okay, Inception might be the better comparison. You can die in the dream, but, or the Matrix is even a better example, I believe. I think you can die in the Matrix, in the computer, in the story, but once you wake up, you're still going to be alive. Now, if in Black Ops 4, if it was American Samantha in the storyline, and then all the stuff happened, then I would say that, you know, Ether is probably over, and that's the way that Treyarch wanted us to kind of end this trial, let's say. So everything that happened in Black Ops 4 happened with German Samantha, because I'll go back, but again, German Samantha is the one that we're in the story right now. So that means let's say, for an analogy, we're inside the dream or inside the story. And that's where I said we're with back to the beginning with Kathy Bates and Misery. We're inside of a story, and the story, we're not told yet in Black Ops 4 that we're in a story. Now, if and when Treyarch says, hey, and gives us a cutscene that it was just all somebody either, and this is kind of where I would want to get into a kind of a theory, is where or what kind of ending are we going to get when we get Zombie Chronicles 2? Is it going to be a snow globe? Is it going to be kids playing with toys? Is it going to be somebody reading a newspaper? If by chance, and I know it's probably already made, but if by chance it's a girl writing a story and closing the book on that story, then I would say confidently 100% that the Ether story is finally over. Until we get that end or cutscene that shows American, I'm flipping back and forth, American Samantha closing the book, imagining, then we'll know that, you know, Black Ops 4 is over, and more than likely we will get it with Zombie Chronicles 2. That's the whole point of making this whole video, is the fact that we haven't gotten that cutscene yet. All we've gotten in Black Ops 4 is Sam within the story killing off her friends in the story. It's not American Samantha killing the characters. So I know this is a little bit complicated, so I'm going to start from the beginning really quickly. And like I said, I know it's going to be a little bit complicated, and I'm purposely doing that in a way not to kind of go into certain things. So just to kind of recap, Black Ops 2, American girl telling a story, imagining everything in her head, controlling the zombies because it's her story, leading up to her boyfriend Eddie going into Black Ops 3 telling the story. And you're going to know he's telling the story by the maps that were made and designed by Treyarch. You end Black Ops 3, again, American Samantha telling the story, daydreaming into a snow globe, which was inspired from a TV series. Same exact storyline, everything. It was just all one kid imagining all the characters within a story. Same thing in Black Ops 1. It was just somebody reading a newspaper, saw a bunch of stuff in the newspaper, and like, hey, let me just create a story with, like, let's say you're in a dentist's office and you start imagining, let's say it was like a cruise ship and then you imagine yourself on a cruise ship or something like that. Going to Black Ops 4 now, we're in that story because it's German Samantha telling the story. German Samantha that kills off Nikolai, and within that story that they no longer exist. Now, like, again, before I go to the last slide, because I'm literally just losing a slide for this, what kind of end cutscene are we going to get for, if we don't get Zombie Chronicles 2, what kind of cutscene are we going to get for Black Ops 4? It could be just a thank you video from Treyarch, but my best theory, or what I would want, would be a girl writing a story and maybe ending the story, closing the book on it, writing the last sentence or chapter, and or her reading it to her kids or something like that, or her reading it somewhere. So last thing I would want to touch on is when Zombie Chronicles 2 is going to come out. Ideally, or a trailer May 4th. Give it a week. It's probably going to be May 12th or May 19th. May 24th, I believe, or 25th is Memorial Day weekend. So unless they release a trailer or drop a hint here, you'll have about 2 weeks, 3 weeks before Memorial Day. I think Zombie Chronicles 1 in 2017 came out on a Tuesday in the middle of the week. In the middle of the month. So ideally, I'm thinking May 4th or May 5th for some type of trailer or hint or teaser. Maybe 2 weeks of hints and teasers, and then the 18th and 19th would be when we would get it. The only thing I gotta look up, I think it's March, but there's fiscal year, and then there's a company year, and this is all accounting stuff. Like, I think Treyarch's fiscal year or accounting year ends in March. I think I looked that up. If not, it might actually be, I think, in March. May, I think they'd release it in May just to give people the summer, summer's unofficially started. Colleges are over. People start going on vacation and stuff like that. So, anyways, I hope this helped. Like I said, let me go back to the beginning. It's not meant to kind of say, hey, I got you type thing. It's just to kind of more help the zombies community kind of push along the storyline, stuff that they've missed over the years, and explain why it looks like we're going to get Zombie Chronicles 2, because we haven't gotten that end cut scene yet that shows it was just a story, or like the trial is over, kind of like we're getting chaos. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Hope you liked it.